everybody. We're here with
Hey.
Deep Grooves, and we're closing up the year. We got a couple more episodes, and today we're gonna be talking about the top 10 finds of the year. I think is that what we're talking about?
Yep, not
Yeah.
new records. We're doing new records next week.
Right.
So these are fines.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a pretty good year for fines,
Oh yeah.
even though it was a pretty shitty year all in all. Maybe the shittiest year all in all. But we're all getting through it. We're all going to get to the other side. Records are saving me. Spent a lot of time digging through my collection, listening to stuff I forgot I had.
Yeah, and I gotta say this in the beginning. I always forget to say this. First of all, like this video, subscribe to our channel. Also, if you haven't seen the last two episodes we put out with Blind Island, go check those out. Go check out his channel.
Part two just came out.
Part two just came out. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah,
I'm really happy with it.
Yeah, turned out good. You did a great job on the editing.
Thank you. Yeah. So yeah, let's aside from that, I'll plug the record store briefly, just up in the beginning. Paramount Record Shop. We'll put a thing for it at the end, and of course down in the description if you're looking to buy records. But other than that, I think let's just get moving.
And let's also mention we are going to be open 2 extra days next week.
Right.
For Christmas shoppers. We're going to be open Wednesday from noon to 5, and Thursday, Christmas Eve day, from 11 to 2. And we may hang around longer. Who knows? Once the eggnog starts flowing, anything could happen. All bets are off. So I put my records in order.
Oh,
did you?
Like in order of when you got them, or
no? As in like importance, 10 to 1.
Oh, I didn't do that, but I
which that could change.
I can sort of do it as I go along.
Yeah. So you want me to start?
Yeah, you can start. I got some that are going to surprise you, though.
I got some that are going to surprise you, too. So this is something I've been looking for a long time. Marcel Dadi, Traveling Man. And it's got the shrink on it, which I didn't want to take off. But for anybody who doesn't know who Marcel Dadi was, he died in 1995, I believe. No, actually 1996 in a Boeing 747 TWA accident in Long Island. So he was one of the rare people who died in a commercial plane crash in the US, but he was French, Tunisian born, and he was one of the certified guitar players, certified by Chet Atkins. And there's only like 10 of them.
Wow.
Tommy Emmanuel's one of them,
The rest of us we're all just knockoffs.
We're uncertified guitar players. But this guy was the real deal. He hung around with Chet. He hung around with Lenny Bro. He hung around with all the guys. He's a great finger stylist in that tradition, in the Chet Atkins tradition. This is a really cool record because he's got a lot of Nashville guys on it. Listen to the lineup. Buddy Emmons, Bunny Spicker, Charlie McCoy, David Briggs, and Bill Keith. They're all like Nashville cats, and it's a really fun record. It's like Chet Atkins stuff, fingerstyle, but with a band, and really sort of like foot tapping, happy music, and fun to listen to. It's all pretty upbeat and kind of got that sort of Nashville vibe through and through.
Cool.
So I want to give a shout out. I found this guy on eBay who's got a online record store called guitarrecords.com, and I found a bunch of cool stuff. I actually bought this from him sealed. I've been looking for this for a long time. This came out in 1977,
Hmm.
and I just could never find it. Marcel Dadi is one of those guys not a lot of people know about, but sort of the inside guys know about him.
Mhm.
So anything you find by this guy, check it out.
Yeah,
Really good finger style.
we'll do that.
You know, chicken picking Nashville style,
Yeah.
even though he was French.
Yeah.
Kind of weird.
Yeah.
So that's my
Hey,
number 10 pick.
the music speaks to you, man. You gotta go for it. Let's see. I'm gonna go with, yeah, this will be the first thing I bring up on my list. I got this at your store, as I got most of this stuff. This is Bud Powell, Inner Fires, The Genius of Bud Powell, and I can't remember who's on it.
Crazy cover.
Yeah, crazy. First of all, yeah, crazy cover, and lineup. Charles Mingus and Roy Haynes, unbelievable. This is a live recording, and it was recorded I think in '53, but they put it out almost like 10 years later, I think. No, they put it out in '82. So this was I think it was posthumous. But it's cool. It's a cool, kind of lively performance. The fidelity's not that great. I don't think that you can hear the bass all that well, but there's like an interview on the back. He was
It's on Musician Records.
Musician Records, yeah.
Pretty cool.
Yeah. And actually part of the interview is on the record too, but it's tough. He had declining mental health in his older years, and so the interview is kind of tough to listen to because the guy had to keep asking him the same questions, and then he would kind of give like a short answer. But
well, that's kind of really a normal day for some of us, right?
Yeah, but him, you could tell he had really been worn down. But here's a great picture of him just flying off the keys. Bud Powell, if you don't know, one of the really, really essential bebop innovators, especially on piano. He was the first person to really bring that bebop vocabulary into the piano. Nobody else was really doing it. Monk had his own thing, although I think I've been told he could play like that. He just didn't. But yeah, Bud Powell, man, he's super important. Wrote a lot of great tunes. Super important cat.
Cool record.
Yeah.
So this is something I snagged in a collection that came in, and I didn't even know about this band, Joy Unlimited. When it first came in, I thought it was one of those like easy listening kind of things, but then you start looking at the art. The art's pretty cool. And what it is, it's basically sort of a psychedelic rock kind of thing with sort of a Big Brother and the Holding Company kind of overtone, almost like a soul vibe at times, but pretty psychedelic. I had never heard anything about this band, but man, I'm glad I put it on when it came in. It's like a really good find. Excellent female vocalist, in sort of the Janis Joplin vein. And it came out on Mercury Records. So the year, I believe, would have been late 70s. No date on here, but yeah, just this really deep, cool, like soul influence psych.
I dig that album cover. Like that looks like the books I used to grow up with as a kid.
Yeah,
is that like a satyr or something? Does he have like goat feet?
Yeah, he has goat feet.
Yeah.
So
I love that shit.
Yeah, very cool band, Joy Unlimited. And notice the guitar he's playing on the back. He's playing one of those Vox, like sort of teardrop kind of things.
Yeah.
Yeah, these guys were cool. So I believe it's just self-titled too. Yep. Just Joy Unlimited, self-titled.
Sweet. All right, for my next pick, this is 18th century traditional music of Japan by Keiko Matsuo and her ensemble, and it's koto music. This is a koto instrument.
Yeah, you got that at my store, didn't you?
I did. Yeah, I didn't know
And I
anything
sort
about
of
it.
twisted your arm, didn't I?
To get it?
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah, yeah. I didn't know anything about it.
Cool record.
Yeah, it's a really cool record. Yeah, I mean the whole world music thing. Anytime you check out music from another culture, it's an experience because the values of how they what their qualifications for good music is totally different. And so this is, but in this case, especially like anybody can dig this music. Maybe not everyone will feel like sitting down and listening to it intently, but if you do, it's like it's engaging. There's two instruments. I don't know if they're both kotos or one is a koto and one is something that sounds similar. They're both panned to the side, and they have really interesting interactions with each other. Sometimes they'll play in unison. Sometimes they'll mirror each other. Sometimes they'll each play different parts of the same phrase. Kind of like the stuff that like Fripp and Adrian Blue did in the later King Crimson stuff, which is probably where they got it from. I think they got it from like gamelan music, which is not too far off from this, but except percussive.
Yeah, and the kotos, there was a big variety of different scales of kotos.
Yeah.
So some of them were kind of like bass kotos, and then I've got a small one that's about this big.
Cool.
That's tuned pretty high, sort of almost like a piccolo version.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and there's really cool liner notes on the back. They talk a little bit about the influences of Japan. A lot of it came from China. Some of it was already like part of the Shinto tradition before there was a solidified Japanese like culture. They don't really. I wish they would have gone more into talking about what the individual songs were, because you don't really know which ones are the secular ones, which ones are the religious ones, and what their influences are. But it's cool to listen to anyway. And yeah, it's a cool listen. I can only really listen to like one side at a time because the instruments are tuned pretty high, so and there's like no bass, so it's like if you listen to it for 40 minutes, to my ears, my Western ears, because it's not what I grew up with, it can be a little bit wearing, but like 20 minutes of it is like pretty sweet.
Well, you know who was a koto master? McCoy Tyner.
Whoa.
He did a lot of koto on his records.
That makes sense because he's
kind of mixed in
the pentatonics guy, and that's a lot of what that music entails.
And you can almost kind of hear some influence on his piano.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
His attack and his sort of fluttery notes, he tends to have like a lot of notes at times in a really rhythmic fashion.
Wow. That's mind-blowing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
So my next pick is from Inner City Records. It's called Home by Ken McIntyre. It's a phenomenal jazz record.
Good backup band.
Yeah. I don't know much about the backup band, but I
say Reggie Workman?
Huh?
Who's the bass player? Reggie Workman. That's from he was with I think he was with Coltrane for a minute.
Yeah.
Was he the main bass player on those? I think it was Reggie Workman.
Yeah, Jackie Biard on piano. I've heard of him. And then Andriel Strobert on drums. But Inner City Inner City is a label that I really, really like. So I often pick up stuff that I haven't heard just because of the label. It's kind of ECM-esque, but tends to be a little bit more urban, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So, they do some reissues, but they did a lot of newer stuff. And this is just really cool stuff. It's really spacious and Ken McIntyre is a saxophonist, but he also plays flute and he plays bassoon and he plays oboe and he plays bass clarinet. And I guess the best way I could describe him tonally is he sort of sounds like Eric Dolphy, but much more melodic,
Yeah.
particularly on the bass clarinet tracks.
Well,
So it's
Dolphy was
very
melodic.
spacious, very rhythmic, and very melodic.
Yeah.
You know, in almost kind of a ethereal way, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Well,
You
Dolphy,
know,
yeah, Dolphy was melodic, but he was melodic in like 3 octaves at once.
yeah, he was melodic, but he was also kind of cluttered at times. So this is the exact opposite of that. It's very spacious, very melodic, and very easy to listen to, but almost animated.
Hmm.
So really unlike a lot of this stuff on Inner City. So I picked it up on a whim, didn't know anything about it, and ended up just playing it over and over. Love it.
Sweet. Yeah, I don't think I've heard of him. I gotta check that guy out. So to clarify, I think Reggie Workman was on some of the Coltrane stuff, but Jimmy Garrison was kind of the main unit in the Coltrane quartet. I'll probably put in more details later on the video. I'm gonna try to top your pick there. Although I got this at your store, so I'm not really topping it. But this is Anthony Braxton. He's another multi-reed instrumentalist. And check out the lineup on this. I think it's on the inside, but you can see a picture from here. You got you got Kenny Wheeler on flugelhorn. You got Dave Holland on bass, and then Barry Otschul. I don't know if I've heard him on anything else. I'm sure I have. I haven't remembered his name. And check out the song titles. These are the song titles that Anthony Braxton uses. So the first track is "You Stepped Out of a Dream," which is like a classic standard that I think he does as a duet with Dave Holland. But all the other ones, G-647 BNK-square.
Yeah, he went through a whole period where he did that.
Yeah.
Everything was like mathematical.
So this is so he's also a multi-instrumentalist. He plays, I want to say, I didn't pay attention to which horn it was. Tenor.
Yeah,
And,
he plays a lot of saxes. He plays flute.
Flute, and then I think clarinet as well, bass clarinet. I don't love all of his stuff. I mean, he's just like a super adventurous guy. So, not
Some of
everything's
it's
going to land with everybody, but
yeah, some of it's pretty far out there.
But this record, I found this record to be like super entertaining. Like not entertaining like, well, it's entertaining. Like super engaging. The band, they're really like focused. It's a lot of free improvisation, but everything they do is really intentional, really color and sound oriented.
I've got some of his stuff that I really like.
Yeah. And this is, I think, a good group. You know what I mean? I think it has a lot to do with it. But his playing, man, he really plays some fabulous stuff on here.
So this is another thing that came in a collection that I had no previous knowledge of. The group is Blonde on Blonde. It's called Contrast, and it's another psych thing. Check out this cover, man.
Wow. Does she have a tarantula on her?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, the poor woman during that photo shoot.
Yeah. Well,
I'm okay with them seeing my back. You're gonna put a one on me?
Yeah, this is such a good record.
Oh my gosh.
We got in this huge collection. There was like literally hundreds and hundreds of records, and I picked this out just because of the cover, and I'm like, how you get overwhelmed when you're like buried in records, and I'm like, I gotta listen to something, and I put this on, and I was like, Scott and I were both standing there going, wow, this is good. So these guys were Welsh, and what this is basically kind of a folk psych record with bursts of pretty intense hard rock So yeah, really psychedelic. Lots of really cool acoustic guitar sounds mixed in. Great vocalist. And this came out on Janus Records.
Like Janus.
Yeah.
Fun fact: he was the Roman god with two faces. He was the god of
Yeah.
decisions. Yeah.
And you know, I knew nothing about this, but if you look it up, it goes for some pretty good bucks.
Mm.
But great listen, excellent stuff. Kind of like a cross between Fairport Convention and Blue Cheer. Think about that one.
Mm. All right. This next record, another one I got at the store. I have some I didn't get at the store, but those are those are my big guns that I'm saving for the end. I got super into Latin music like last year. I was in a Latin group, and then I started hanging out with all these Latin musicians at Berkeley. It was like that was a whole thing. Anyways, this is kind of one of the major pioneers in Latin jazz, like really playing like serious jazz, but with Latin rhythms and percussion and phrasing. This
He
is
looks like
Paquito.
Gato Barbieri on that.
He does. Well, he's
photo.
got the hat. You know, he's got the hat
Yeah.
and the
Playing the alto.
yeah. So this is Paquito de. I can't remember pronounce it.
B. Riviera.
Yeah, he's from Cuba. He was kind of like a virtuoso saxophone player and also clarinet. I think he plays more clarinet now than saxophone. And this is one of those records. I brought this one up specifically. I have another one that's a live concert that's also incredible. But one of my teachers is on here, Lincoln Goins from Berkeley. He's a bass player. He's also my Tai Chi teacher. Like one of my favorite teachers at Berkeley. I hope he sees this. But and you also have some other names people might be familiar with. Howard Levy from
Chicago.
Was he in Chicago?
Bela Fleck and the Flecktones.
Flecktones, yeah. So he was in the Flecktones, and then also Steve Gadd. I think most people know Steve Gadd, and I'm finding he plays on quite a bit of Latin stuff as well. So there's some kind of standards on here. Lady and the Tramp, Mambo Inn, Song to My Son, which I think is a play on Song to My Father. But super cool. If you're just getting your toes dipped into Latin music and you really like jazz, he's the cat. I mean, definitely. Yeah, Paquito de Rivera. I had this is me just name dropping. I think 3 or 4 teachers at Berkeley who were in his band, which was crazy. Like one of the piano players, 2 bass players. One of them currently plays with him, and then the drummer, Mark Walker, who's also in Oregon right now. Well, not right now, cool. But in the current version of Oregon.
So this is something I had given up on.
Whoa!
An original copy of this.
Yeah.
And I bought the reissue. The reissue is really good, but I got a mint one in the shrink with the little stickers. There's like 2 of them.
Oh, what a picture.
Yeah, talk about a great sounding album.
Yeah.
Like the original smokes the reissue, and the reissue is really good, you know, and it's got some live tracks on it that were not on the original record, but the original version of this is just phenomenal.
Did I ever show you my promotional copy? I have a promotional copy of Tutu, yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Here's the label. Check out the label. It's like this turquoise on one side, and it's like purple on the other side.
Wow.
Yeah. Dead mint copy in the shrink.
Wow.
One of my favorite Miles Davis records. I know that people don't really get his later stuff, but man, this is such a compelling, just sensitive record.
Yeah,
Marcus Miller, on bass.
And Marcus Miller wrote and produced like probably 80% of that record. It's basically
he sort of drew Miles out of his he was kind of self-quarantining before self-quarantining was
with lots of
popular.
cocaine.
I don't think he had left his townhouse for like a year, and Marcus Miller kind of lured him out and helped him kind of get back in the game.
Yeah.
And in the early days of MTV, which most people probably don't even remember what MTV was,
Right.
Miles Davis during this period did a show. And it wasn't like a once a week show. It was like whenever Miles felt like showing up. And they would put blank paper on the wall, and Miles would paint, like, and talk. And then he would DJ, and he played some of this record. He would sort of hype his own stuff.
Yeah.
And I remember hearing it for the first time on MTV. You can believe that. Before MTV sucked. Please don't sue us. And it was just crazy good.
Mm.
But yeah, he used to just stand there and paint these
His
big
paintings are so gorgeous.
Yeah. And and he would try to sort of talk a little bit, and I don't know if he was doing the programming or if somebody else was, but it was super cool.
Mm.
But Miles Davis Tutu, if you can't find the original, buy the reissue. It's really good. It's got a bunch of live tracks that were unreleased. But I'm glad I found an original.
Yeah, that's an underrated period. I think it's kind of fashionable to hate on that stuff, but when you actually listen to it, there's lots of cool stuff happening. Yeah.
Yeah, it's ridiculously good.
And also, like, we're stuck at home for long periods of time. If you get bored and you can't think of something to do, just look up Miles Davis interviews from that period. Like, they're so entertaining. He has zero patience for any of the people interviewing him because they have no idea, like, what the fuck he's done. Like, he's on the show.
Not just what he's done, but they very seldom even really knew what the context was of his music. And how it influenced other people, like almost everybody. I mean, everything Miles did influenced everybody. He was the mark.
Right. There was a story, I think he wrote in his autobiography, where he met, I think, Nancy Reagan, because he was getting a medal or something. And she goes, "Oh, and what do you do?" And he goes, well, I changed music 6 times. What do you do? He had a 0% bullshit tolerance.
Well, he was Miles Davis. He didn't have to put up with any bullshit.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
Yeah, so I highly recommend, after you watch this video, go watch some interviews. I won't give away some of the stuff he says, but he's so funny and so has no patience for anybody.
And those shows that I'm talking about, those
check those
MTV episodes, they must be out there somewhere.
I'll look for them, yeah.
Everything's out there somewhere.
Yeah. All right, check this out. I'm going to switch gears. I got this really, really recently. This is the guy. Check this out. You remember, I think I yelled when I found this.
You got that at my store too.
Yeah. Yeah, if you're looking for classical stuff, like Ken's usually got some pretty, I don't know if you still have anything from that one collection you got in, but and he doesn't price it that high because nobody buys it. So like
it's pretty silly what we sell good classical stuff for.
Yeah. So this is Bach piano pieces, the Goldberg variations, which are, I think, kind of considered to be some of Bach's better stuff, some of his greatest stuff. I haven't heard anything from Bach that wasn't like unbelievable. And the guy playing it is Glenn Gould, who is, I think, he's kind of considered to be the Bach guy, especially with these pieces. This is actually the second recording he did. I think he did one in the 50s.
And he's a pianist, right?
Yeah. Well, he's also he's kind of just like an overall savant genius kind of guy. I think he had like a show or a radio program too. Really creative guy. Everybody, please, in the audience, please turn off your cell phones. You're distracting the performers.
That's That's that guy that calls every time. He
So
never
this
wants
is,
to talk to me any other time.
you should bring him on. You should bring him on one
Yeah.
time. Anyway, so this is when they did in the 80s. And it was recorded on digital. But it still sounds great. Obviously digital, can sound amazing. And yeah, I remember I was sometimes when I was studying with Joanne, we would have overlaps with the students. She would have like previous students show the next student what they were working on or something. So there was something going on, and she was talking about like finger independence and to listen to
So
Glenn
Garrett,
Gould.
for those of us who don't know who Joanne is,
I'm gonna get to Joanne. Don't worry about
like,
it.
where did you study with Joanne?
At Berkeley
Yeah.
College of Music. But I'm gonna get to Joanne. Don't worry.
Okay.
But his fingers, each of his fingers or each of the lines in the music sounds like a different person. Like it sounds like a different character in a play. They all have different personalities, and you can hear it. It's not like oh yeah, I bet he's like got a thing. Like it's like there's that guy, there's that guy, there's that guy. They're all moving and damn, his speed, his facility, his expression, unbelievable. Anything by Glenn Gould, anything by Bach, like, is the shit. Is amazing.
Cool.
Yeah.
I'm glad somebody showed a classical record.
Yeah. Oh, I think this might be my only one. No, I don't think it is. But I got one that's gonna surprise you.
I just picked this up, and this definitely made the list first time through. Man. So this is a French import, Larry Coryell and the 11th House live in Europe. Just killer. Just amazing.
Is Randy on that one?
Listen to the band: Mike Mandel, Mike Lawrence, John Lee, Alphonse Mouzon, and Larry Coryell. And Larry Coryell steps out. He mixes it up big time with these guys. So I had never seen this. I actually found this on eBay, and I don't generally buy stuff on eBay, but I couldn't resist this.
It's not the same, but yeah.
Check out the label. It's almost like a bootleg kind of thing.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
Label.
I wouldn't be. Oh yeah.
It is on a, well, the catalog number is LC1, so this might be the only record that these guys ever put out.
Wow.
I don't know. It might be a boot. I've never seen it before.
I've never seen that on iTunes or YouTube or anywhere else, so it must be a pretty rare find.
Yeah, sound quality's pretty good.
Sweet.
And I played at store a few times, and everybody's like, "Whoa, what's that?" Yeah. So Larry Coryell and the 11th House live in Europe.
Wow.
Not to be confused with the live at Montreux. It's a totally different show.
Right. All right, I'm gonna bring up. I think this is the only record that I've already talked about, but I was so hyped to find it that I got to bring it up again. So I won't say much about it. If you want to hear more about this, go to the country episode we did. I was just so hyped to find this record.
I called you. Remember?
You called me, yeah. I came within a couple days, yeah.
Yeah.
Because this is a hard record to find. It's not on iTunes. I think you can find it on YouTube, but no one wants.
I think it was reissued on Ryko disc at one point, but long out of print.
Yeah. So again, this has got for those of you who are catching up, we got Jerry Garcia on banjo. He's a fucking epic banjo player, unbelievable. And of course, David Grisman, who we did a lot of records with, he's over here on mandolin. The other cats I'm not as familiar with.
Vassar Clemens, come on.
I got to get more hip.
Vassar Clemens is one of the best fiddle players out there. He was on tons and tons and tons of great bluegrass records, including the one we talked about the other day, Hillbilly Jazz. He was on that one, I believe.
Oh, sweet. Yeah.
I'm going by memory here, and that's always scary at my age. But yeah, Vassar Clemens was the guy.
Nice.
He was the hillbilly fiddle player to beat.
Yeah. Yeah, so they do some originals and then they do some traditional stuff. Um, man, you feel good listening to it. Like, it's got that high and low
Yeah,
sound, great harmonies.
it's one of the coolest Dead related records out there, and
Well, no doubt.
not ridiculously expensive yet. We've
Right.
actually got another copy at the store right now.
Wow.
I've got it in twice in 1 year, and that's probably the I probably haven't seen that record for 10 years previous to this. So this is something that I had a reissue of, and now I've got an original first pressing of Bill Haley and the Comets,
You're a
Rock
fanatic.
Around the Clock. Yeah, this is the shit.
I
Check
learned
out
that
the label. Decca.
Wow. So it's
Yeah, this is the heavy one too.
Is it a full record? Is it a full record? So it's got other tunes on it? Wow.
Full album. And this is the heavy, sort of brittle vinyl before the modern stuff came in. So this was in the 50s. This is definitely one of the most groundbreaking rock and roll records, at least by a white guy. I mean, Little Richard was around before this, or probably at the same time, actually. But for those of you who thought this song was just the theme song from Happy Days, it was also an epic sort of teen rock anthem before that.
How about that guitar solo though?
Oh yeah, it's great. And this is another example, like so many, where you get the original and it's just a whole different experience than listening to a reissue. It's beyond good. It's just, three-dimensional, and there's just something about the production in the early vinyl like this it's all deep groove vinyl too. So
deep grooves.
Yeah, it's a different experience, but I'm glad I finally got an original. And it's a nice one.
I remember when I was really young, I was at this daycare. I don't even remember where it was, and there was like an Elmo toy that used to sing that. So that was my first memory of that song. Yeah, he had like a little guitar, and I would just sit there like the whole time pressing the button and dancing to it. I must not have known any other music at the time or been like aware of.
That's pretty scary, Garrett.
Yeah. So that's where so when I returned to my roots,
it was molding you for your life and music.
When I go back to my roots, that's what I'm going to be making. I'm going to be making Elmo rock. All right, this is one of my big guns that's going to surprise you. I got this in Boston. This is a pretty deep cut.
Whoa.
Yeah. So this is Air, and the record is called 80 Degrees Below 82. And this is by a guy named Henry Threadgill.
Love Henry Threadgill.
Yeah, he's maybe he's more well known. He got a Pulitzer Prize like 10 years ago, maybe, for a really
he had
cool record.
A couple of great records since then too.
Yeah. Super adventurous musician. This particular record is a trio with a bass and a drummer, and it's kind of Ornette. It's in the lineage of Ornette, but he takes it another direction. He opens it up a little bit rhythmically and the as far as the interplay and the textures go, and makes it even more blues oriented. I mean, Ornette, to me at least, is already very bluesy, but
he's really kind of the second generation Ornette.
Yeah. So check out this cover. It's just their suits with their instruments. So this is cool. I found this in Boston, like right after a teacher was like admonishing me for not being deeper into Threadgill's stuff.
Yeah, Henry Threadgill is just phenomenal.
Yeah, I was on I don't mean to keep bringing up these stories. I was on a Zoom call with Henry Threadgill at the beginning of lockdown. They had a meeting of this new organization called the Music Workers Alliance, which is put together to, they're trying to get musicians to be treated as at least human, you know what I mean? So that we can actually make a living. and so they were having a whole meeting, and a lot of it was, I think, racially related. It was like right around the Black Lives Matter time. So they had Mark Rebo on there, and they had bass player from Power Tools, Bill Frisell. I always forget his name.
Yeah, Mark
Melvin.
Rebo is a great Cuban. His Cuban
Yeah.
stuff is just
Yeah.
incredible.
Whew. If you ever
And he
find any of that,
played with Tom Waits too.
yeah, and on the on that am I forgetting his name? The singer from Led Zeppelin,
Robert Plant.
Robert Plant record with Alison Krauss. He's on that one too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Melvin Gibbs, the bass player. He was on there too. And then Henry Threadgill. He was just like, I was just hanging out. I didn't talk to him. There were like 60 people on there, but I was like, I'm just looking at Henry Threadgill. It was crazy. Cool. Yeah.
Well, here's another one I found this year. This is my
yeah.
number 2 pick. Sonny Stitt Now. And this is an original Impulse pressing. Great band. So Hank Jones, Al Lucas, Ozzy Johnson. I believe this is produced by Bob Thiel. Yep. And put out in 1963. So anybody who's a fan of Coltrane that hasn't gotten into Sonny Stitt, man, he's got a really kind of sort of similar at times, you know, but really distinct tone. He's one of the saxophone guys to really look into. And the Impulse pressings are really good, the original ones. So
he's kind of recognized as one of the like one of the Charlie Parker kind of predecessors. He got a lot of criticism for it in the beginning, and I think that's why he switched to tenor for some of his stuff.
Yeah, this is such a great record, though.
Yeah.
Hank Jones, love him.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Yeah.
And some of the stuff Bob Thiel produced, I could do without, but some of it's really good. So Sonny Stitt Now.
You know what I just realized, Ken? I have an extra record by accident.
Well, I got an honorable mention.
Okay, good. All right. That's good. Okay, because the next one, because the last 3 I have, I got to talk about.
Actually, we have 2 left, right? So that was number 7.
Okay. Or maybe I counted wrong.
Yeah.
This is another one that Ken called me up at some random time in the day and told me that he had it in. This for me.
Probably 3 a.m.
Probably something like that. This for me. This is Grateful Dead, by the way. This is Europe '72. Triple LP. Some people have a hard time getting into the Grateful Dead. A lot of people just don't like them.
That's only because they haven't listened enough.
Right, they haven't listened enough. This, I would say, if you're skeptical, you know, you don't need to go out and find this LP. You're probably not going to find it. It's hard to find. But like this is them at their most. They're landing constantly because they're a jam band, so not everything they do is always going to be perfect or exciting, and sometimes a whole set is just kind of like, dang, that's what they're going with.
Yeah, and that wasn't recorded on the first show of the tour. That was recorded after they were out there for a while.
Yeah, and actually, I found out later most of the vocals on here are overdubbed.
Oh, really?
Which is why they sound so amazing. Yeah, but the band energy, the interplay, the freedom, and then the times where they just collide on the same thing at the right moment is incredible. So you have some of their more like kind of conventional stuff that people might recognize or get excited about. Cumberland Blues is off of American Beauty. Jack Straw, what a beautiful tune. China Cat Sunflower. Woo! What else?
Yeah, that might be one of the best versions of China Cat Sunflower.
Yeah, unbelievable. And then side 5 and 6, they do Truckin', which obviously everybody knows, which is about a drug bust that they got in New Orleans. They got some big drug bust going on, and then they like kind of wander off into this really avant-garde arena, and they're all playing in different keys. Like it's super heavy duty. I was on a camping trip with my friend Kevin and his girlfriend at the time and all of her friends, and we were driving to the beach, and I had that on. And I got so much hate for it. They're like, this sounds like death. This music sounds like hell. Why are we listening to this? It's like 20th century classical shit, but it's improvised by a bunch of like country musicians. I love this record so much, and I was so excited when you told me you had it. And this has the booklet in it too. I won't take it out because the record is kind of
Yeah,
fragile.
that's really hard to find,
But
the
here's
book.
here's the
Like
cover.
most people don't even know it's got a book.
Yeah, a bunch of beautiful pictures of it. Yeah, I love the Grateful Dead, man, and I love this record. This was the record for a while. This was like one of 3 CDs I had in my car. Like 2 summers ago, I just listened to it on repeat.
Okay, so this is really number 2.
Okay.
Okay. So Gil Scott Heron,
Oh yeah.
Brian Jackson, Winter in America.
Wow.
Couldn't be a more, you know, um,
Poignant.
kind of current
Yeah.
theme. But for anybody who doesn't know about Gil Scott Heron, he was a poet. He was maybe one of the first kind of hip hop guys, or at least people say he was one of the innovators of hip
Yeah.
hop. Brian Jackson's a great pianist, great jazz pianist, and does some just beautiful piano on here, electric and acoustic, mostly electric though. And Gil Scott Heron's lyrics are racially influenced, let's say.
Yeah. Let's
Um,
say.
yeah,
It's intense.
he was pretty cutting edge and really didn't hold back a lot.
No.
You know, kind
Yeah.
of told the world what was really happening in the urban parts of the country. You
Yeah.
know, at that time. So
For anyone who doesn't know, he's the guy who did "The Revolution Will Not Be Televised." That's kind
yeah,
of his
and
most famous
and
thing.
he had a really interesting life.
Mm.
He basically I think he was given an honorary master's degree in creative writing,
Mm.
even though he never got a bachelor's degree. Um, I think he did 2 or 3 stints in jail, mostly for drug related stuff.
Wow.
So you know he was living the life. He was in the trenches, in the
Right.
thick of it. Even though he's very well known, he spent a bunch of time in jail.
Wow.
So yeah, there he is right there, Brian Jackson.
So it's just a duo record.
There's a band as well.
Okay.
See if
I
it,
think didn't
yeah,
Ron Carter playing some of his stuff?
Bowen's on bass and Bob Adams on drums.
Hmm.
Some really cool artwork
Yeah.
inside as well.
Wow.
But I love all Gil Scott Heron stuff. This is on a really unusual label, Strata East.
Hmm.
Which I believe was kind of a East Coast, maybe Baltimore label or something. Did a couple of records. These guys kind of went from record label to record label and had a long history of kind of being kicked off of labels. I don't know that it's stuff that at the time sold all that well.
Sure.
The Revolution Will Be Televised
Will
sold
not be
well.
televised.
Will not be televised. Yeah,
And then
that
Jeff
was probably
Beck.
his most known song.
Yeah.
So,
And then Jeff
cool
Beck
label.
Jeff Beck came out with "The Revolution Will Be Televised."
Oh yeah.
When he wrote that, he had no idea that we'd be living with like cameras, you know what I mean, in our hands.
Yeah.
And now the revolution is like, at least as far as we know, it is televised. But at the
Yeah,
time,
so anything you can find by Gil Scott Heron, check
Yeah.
it out.
So I said I was going to bring up Joanne, and I am going to bring up Joanne. I got a huge, well, not huge, it was like 4 or 5 records, collection of her stuff. She was one of my teachers at Berkeley. And this is the first record I heard of her. My other teacher, Jack Grassel, one of my other many teachers, Jack Grassel, put this record on for me. This is called Tringaling. Check out this band. Yeah, this is so Mike Brecker is the featured artist on this record, and then the rhythm section is Cecil McBee, Clint Houston, and Billy Hart. And it depends. Sometimes they play trio, sometimes they play quartet. Both the bass players are great. Billy Hart, another legend. We brought him up a couple times. She played with him a lot, and especially in Stan Getz's bands. And this record is really great. Is this her first record? I don't think this is her first record. I have her first record, but yeah, she's been called the Picasso of jazz. I keep saying I should do an episode just on her stuff, and I think I might. But she comes from like kind of the McCoy school. Like she has that left hand going. She has the pentatonic shit going on, but she's got this energy that is really it's kind of a rare energy. Part of it was just like in order to be taken seriously, she had to be twice as good as every other piano player. Because aside from Mary Lou Williams, right? Is that yeah? Aside from, there weren't that many only instrumentalist female musicians. She had to really work her ass off, and she did. And so when you hear her, it's kind of terrifying. Like she plays with a vengeance, and she's kind of got this sound where even when she's playing over changes or she's playing something with a structure, she always sounds like she's playing free. And that's kind of what's so remarkable about it. She always sounds like she's playing exactly what she wants at any given moment. And there's times where it sounds like it's just like hell raining down. Like she really plays incredibly. She's so inspiring, and she's such an incredible musician. So I was so excited. I have like maybe 6 or 7 of her records now, and it's really cool just to be able to have those coming through my speakers off of these. Some nice pictures on the back as well. Yeah.
All right, so this is my number one.
Okay.
Number one for 2020. This is a really killer find. Again, I knew nothing about it when I found it. Bonfa.
Yeah.
Yeah. Jacaranda, it's called. And for anybody that doesn't know about Bonfa, it was Luis Bonfa. And he was a classical South American
from
guitarist.
Brazil.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And did some South American influenced jazz. He was also a great vocalist, but most of his stuff was fairly traditional. This one is super psychedelic. He steps out big time, and it's just unlike anything I've ever heard in my life. It's great stuff. He plays this weird kind of 12-string guitar that's shaped like a lute. And he plays it through effects, and it's great. Killer band. Stanley Clark is on here. Erto
Morera.
Yeah.
We're probably butchering
Ray
it.
Barretto.
Yeah.
Idris Muhammad, Richard O'Connell, John Wood, Sonny Boyer, Phil Bordner on flute. Yeah, just some killer stuff. And it's on a really bizarre label, Ranwood Records. Never seen anything else on that label. But man, this is a killer find for me. I just love this record. So
cool.
That's my number one pick.
Nice. All right, I got one more. I think this is gonna blow your mind. I don't know if it's gonna blow your mind or not. I got this in Boston. Tell me, do you recognize this? You know what the significance of this one is?
Something to do with Frank Zappa?
Yeah, this was the record that turned Frank Zappa into Frank Zappa.
Yeah.
There's a new did you see the new documentary?
No, not yet.
Woo! It's killer. It's also kind of depressing. He didn't really.
Is it on Netflix?
No. It's not on Netflix. But Yeah, I didn't realize how like kind of isolated he was. Like he didn't really have a
Frank,
real, yeah, he didn't really have like a real
he didn't go out
social
of the
life,
house for
personal
like
life.
27 years or something.
Yeah, yeah. It was kind of sad, but also kind of inspiring. Like his parents didn't allow music in the house, basically, and so somehow he went out. He found this record. This is Edgar Varese. He's one of the post Schoenberg uh, 20th century composers. Totally nuts music. And so he
He
found
was
this record. I
he
think
was a
this is his first album.
percussionist, right?
Well, this
Primarily.
this record is a lot of percussion stuff. Yeah. Um, and I think the main piece is ionization. I think is the one that, yeah, the percussion. That's the percussion
Which may be
record.
why Frank was the only rock band in the world with a vibes player
And two drummers.
and great drummers, the
Yeah,
best
Chester
drummers.
Thompson.
Yeah.
Who else? I don't know. I'm not gonna try to remember it now, but yeah. So I was so hyped when I found this. It was $10. It's in abysmal condition. Like I probably wouldn't put it on now because it's just too beat up. But I was so hyped to find it. First of all, we're gonna find an Edgar Varese record. And second of all, this thing is taped together. So like I'm guessing this is like the original pressing. Copyright 1950.
And that
Unbelievable.
must be Frank Zappa's autograph on the cover, right?
No, Edgar Varese. Yeah, it says Edgar Varese.
Oh,
Like
is that
for
what it says?
Yeah, like for his birthday, they asked him what he wanted for his birthday when he was a kid. He goes, "I want to have a phone call with Edgar Varese." So they called him.
Really?
They called him, and he talked to him. And then I think there's an interview later. I think it's with Varese, where Varese was talking about how cool it was that he thought Zappa was a fan of him, and how cool it was that he was doing symphonic music. So it was kind of like a mutual admiration that's like very adorable from two like kind of terrifying figures in music, you know.
Yeah.
So this is, yeah, I was so hyped to find this. This is my last pick. I
Cool.
got this like about a year ago. Yeah.
Well, that's our top 10 finds for 2020. And next week, we're going to be doing our top 5 new records, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so here's the thing. If you're watching this and you're like, you know what, I didn't really rake in that many cool records this year. Like, how do I fix that problem? Ken, what
Oh,
would you
you just
recommend that they do?
come down to Paramount Record Shop and bring a lunch and do some digging, man.
Yeah.
We conveniently put all the great classical records on the bottom shelf, so you got to get on your hands and knees
Yeah.
to really dig through them, and that's part of the experience. See,
Yeah.
we could put them on top, but it's much more fun if you get down there in the grit.
Well,
You
that
know,
way no one accidentally takes them without knowing what they're getting. You know what I mean?
right.
Yeah. Yeah. Cover your
So yeah,
face.
we're stocked to the hilt, man.
Yeah.
Every bin is just jammed full. We're to the point now where we've gotten so many records in the last 3-4 months that we can't even put them out. And we're selling tons and tons and tons of stuff. We're selling like everything we can get, but there's just so much. We're just getting so much stuff.
Yeah. 'Tis the
And it's
season.
all good.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah. All right. So yeah, once again, subscribe to our channel so that you can know when we're putting out stuff. Go over, check out Blind Island, Isaac at Blind Island, Personal Oasis. He's another local guy. He shops at Kent's store. He talks about all kinds of music. Like he intimidates me a little bit actually, and how wide his tastes are. He's like really, really a huge music fan.
I
Yeah, go
learned
check
some
him out.
cool stuff.
Yeah.
I want
So
to find that Billy Gentry record.
Yeah.
Bobby
Oh
Gentry.
my gosh, Bobby Gentry.
wanna-
Yeah.
And then we probably
Woo.
have that at the store somewhere. I just got to start digging.
Yeah, I started listening to her a little bit. Yeah, she's like, her voice is like super cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
super kind of husky and deep and emotional. Yeah. All right. Well,
All right. So keep the faith. We'll be back next week.
yep. Happy holidays, everybody. You know, stay safe.
Yep.
Relax, listen to music, enjoy yourselves as best you can. We'll see you all next week.